This is the inaugural event of the Global Foundation for Democracy. We're very, very honored and privileged that we have almost half of President Bush's former cabinet here, everyone from Attorney General Ashcroft to Secretary of Homeland Security Tom Ridge, Secretary of Commerce Don Evans to former Supreme Allied Commander of NATO, General Wesley. It's a tremendous group, including the Vice President of War, former Prime Minister of Canada, Campbell, former Prime Minister of Great Britain, John Major. They've all decided to join us here for our inaugural, really working conference, I think would be a better way to describe it. We want to keep it small and high level. We've asked people from across the political spectrum to join us in Geneva to really address the issue of what can be done to further the cause of democracy in today's world.
There are many fields where non-governmental organizations, foundations can bring their assistance.
I was impressed about the range of people you'd invited here to actually speak to the conference, a huge range from all over the world. But I was even more impressed by the range of people who had come to listen. Democracy matters most, it seems to me, to those who have it least. And in helping to provide it, here is an occasion when we should be our brother's keeper. They really do come from nearly all parts of the globe, and I think that's very, very refreshing. You can see that there is a determination and interest to address this particular problem, not just in one or two countries, but that it's very widespread. If you look yet further afield, perhaps the former Soviet Union satellites, you see democracy emerging, but it isn't easy. The struggle, in many ways, is very painful to establish the principle so that it is universally accepted and universally respected.
We need every resource possible to be directed at encouraging democracies, encouraging freedom, encouraging systems that respect human dignity and the rights of individuals. I thought I'd like to mention some different kinds of challenges to democracy as just a way to provoke your thinking.
Democracy isn't a luxury. It is the fundamental guarantee that people can live lives of dignity. What the Global Foundation for Democracy is doing is very important because it is about the suffering of real people. It is about the way your lives can be turned upside down.
I want to start by acknowledging how much we're indebted to Dr. Chodiev for his generosity and leadership and to Erwin Katzoff's leadership in pulling this group together. I think that there's an historic opportunity in front of us because this mix of businessmen with statesmen and political leaders can do a great job of assessing progress and moving ideas forward.
I'd like to help in the area where the governments are not able to provide help and assistance to our suffering people. We're going to take this niche.
It seems uniquely appropriate that somebody who saw the worst of the Soviet system should now be using his success to make a difference.
Our family was one of the most reputable family in the country, but KGB services got my father in the prison, my brother in the prison, my mother died. So your father's gonna sit next 10 years in prison. This is Soviet way democracy.
I first went to the Soviet Union in 1968, and what happened in the late 1980s and 1990s has uncorked 200 years of repression. And the uncorking of that repression has led to enormous opportunities. You see new democracies struggling to adopt a free market, struggling to frame their own democratic system, struggling to enjoy the same quality of life being enjoyed in the Western European democracies. And I think that's the most exciting development we've seen in the world for a very long time.
People are trying to moderate now the Western standards and to bring them to Russia, Kazakhstan, Ukraine, and many other post-Soviet Union countries.
There's no vested interest here. You have the private sector through philanthropy growing up to address the issue. The state's relative authority and influence is declining compared to these other agents of change.
Government has a role to play. NGOs have a role to play. Nonprofits have a role to play. The private sector has got a role to play. I mean, we all work together in the world.
The idea of people in power in these countries who have assembled economic power, speaking out for building democratic institutions outside of government, to work on government, to work on big business, is important because these people are listened to. They're part of the establishment.
The heart of most human beings, be they sophisticated, successful entrepreneurs like some of these individuals, or just the citizen who lives in a rural community in any country, at the end of the day, I really do think they'd rather determine their own fate.
Dr. Chodiev, congratulations to you. Thank you for bringing us all together for the establishment of this important foundation. I am proud to join with you. I congratulate those who have gotten it off to such a good start.
The greatest gift life has to offer is to work hard at work worth doing. The work of building democracy and the work of this foundation is work worth doing.